Well, we are back for more Secret Invasion, and I am now looking at my watch, thinking to myself, we're now 3 episodes in, and we have not done a thing. It seems as though they've forgotten that they only have 6 episodes, yet they haven't went out of their way to actually tell a story yet. It's just, oh, we're going to sit and talk for an extended period of time, and it doesn't really amount to anything. It's just chitter chatter. That is all that's going on in this show. And to add on top of that, it's also really shit and really poorly put together. I'm still waiting on this secret invasion happening. I mean, it must be really secret if the audience can't even tell about this invasion. So, yes, we've of course got another meandering episode where nothing gets achieved. It's just more buffoonery, whether it's the villains or, the other side of it. I suppose the only thing they continue to do in this episode is destroy Nick Fury, of course. You really do get the sense in this show that the writers really hate Nick Fury for some reason. Any possible way they can destroy his character, they take it that way. Just any way, it seems as though they are actively looking for it. To go, here we go, here's another thing to destroy Nick Fury's character. Character assassination, that's what we have here. That's all it is. There's no, oh, but the blip, he had a near-death experience. It's like he's had that before in Winter Soldier. So it is nothing new in that regard. It seems as though the defense of the destruction of Nick Fury's character is very similar to that of Boba Fett, where people said, oh, well, he fell in the Sarlacc pit, so that means he now completely changes, and he's also really, really stupid. But that is apparently how people are trying to justify Nick Fury being completely out of character. The show hasn't went out of its way to justify it. They can't really, based on who the character of Nick Fury is. So that's really how we're faring in terms of Nick Fury. Just, he's not Nick Fury. Not Nick Fury at all, but I suppose we will get into it and get it over with. I don't imagine we'll be here long. We have about a 38-minute episode. And again, nothing whatsoever happens. There's really nothing to report. The entire episode is a complete waste of time. The entire episode is based on Gravik, our villain, who's in the grey area, even though he's killed many, many people. Him trying to figure out who the traitor is. That's what the entire episode is. So by the end of the episode, you're right. Oh, right, we haven't went anywhere. We have not left the station yet. But that's what the entire episode is. So it's all just, oh, actually, this was to figure out you were the traitor all along. Right, thanks for the waste of fucking time. So we start out, these 3 guys, these 3 Skrulls are, they're going to do something which we're going to get an explanation for in a second. They're going to infiltrate the Royal Navy. So they're going to pose as Royal Navy officers. And that's Gravik's big plan, all just to figure out who the traitor is. Goes to all this trouble to figure out who a traitor is. When it's like, well, you don't need to do that, do you? You can do something very, very small scale, but he goes, we're gonna bomb an airplane out of the sky to figure out who a fucking traitor is. Are you dumb? Yes. The answer to that question is yes. We have not got. There's just so many dumb villains. Never get a villain who is actually intelligent. They're just really, really stupid. So he's explaining to the council. He says, I told you I had a plan to take Earth as our own because we just can't find our own planet. We've searched them all. There's no planet for us. They just hate us. Okay. And again, they bring out technology in this episode, and you're just like, right, so you've got the technology to do this, but you can't find a planet. I just have to call bullshit. But his plan is to make the entire world fire nuclear weapons on each other. And again, it's like, this isn't the first time we've seen this problem appear. Why would you want to like ruin the entire planet when it's perfect? It has all the infrastructure, you know, all the work's done for you, and you're like, nah, destroy it all. Because again, a dumb villain. That is exactly the reason why. So that's his plan. I'm gonna get nuclear war going and ruin the planet, even though it's got trees and shit. Everything's here. It's got animals. Everything you could ever want out of a planet. Perfect. Now we're gonna destroy the entire fucking thing. Jesus Christ. So yeah, he's not very bright. And yeah, I did write my notes, all this effort when you could just find your own planet, but they're not going to do that. We're supposed to believe that they can't do that when they can. So he goes over that these three guys are, you know, I sent these 3 Skrulls to infiltrate the Royal Navy and execute a strike on a key UN target. The heroes of Earth will react. Right, you know, again, it's all because to find out who the traitor is. We already know the heroes of Earth will react. No, they won't. They won't even turn up. And really, that just does damage to our heroes' characters. Although there's not many of them left now, is there? So they're not going to appear, so I don't know what you're worried about. But that's his plan. Infiltrate the Royal Navy, execute a strike on a key United Nation target. The heroes of Earth will react. No, they won't. We need to become super ourselves. We're going to become Super Skrulls. Honestly, a joke of a villain. That's all I can say. So that's also their plan. We've seen it in the trailers. He gets Groot powers. Even though, you know, I don't really know how that works, considering Groot isn't super powered. You know, Groot doesn't have super... He's just a fucking tree. You know, a humanoid tree. You know, they're not powers per se. But that's what he's going to eventually turn into. That's going to be fucking weird, isn't it? So, you know, he goes on to say humans will be an all-out war with each other within the week, and while they're at it, will break their backs. You know, again, the idea that you think you can just make the entire world, all these nations, go to nuclear war like within a week is absurd. I don't know why you think it would work that way. Fucking hell, it's nuclear warheads. It's like most countries know. There's a reason why we ain't fucking had it, really. Because it would fuck up other places too, not just the country that you hit. But that's what they're basing it on. We get them to go to nuclear war with each other. Because for some reason, nobody will tell them, oh, by the way, they're Skrulls, these alien things that have infiltrated your governments. I mean, that it could be stopped dead right there if we just had Nick Fury tell everybody that there is Skrulls that have infiltrated the planet, the governments. They plan on using nuclear warheads to blow up the planet, whatever. That's all you need to happen. And the Skrulls have already allowed this amount of information to get out about themselves to the likes of Nick Fury. But no one will just go, they're Skrulls infiltrated. They're gonna try and convince you to throw a missile, a nuclear warhead at a country. So no one's doing that. They still haven't done that. We're dealing with great characters here. They're just really fucking stupid. So yeah, that's basically what we get there. That's how we start off. Then we get our little AI bullshit fucking title credit. They thought this was like really amazing. It kind of backfired on them, didn't it? You can only really laugh at that. So we go to New York, 1998. Nick Fury goes and fucking hell. You know, again, it's just wasting fucking time. Oh, Nick Fury's gonna go and have a coffee. all right, that's interesting. And I can watch someone do that for a window. But we're doing it in this fucking Marvel show. So he sits down. It turns out to be his Skrull wife. So he does, in fact, know that she's a Skrull. He's made her change her skin for him and all that. That's a bit racist. So she hands him like a thing. And we get more on this later. I'll save it. I'll save it till we actually get there. But she just hands him this thing saying, oh, this will put these guys on their heels or some shit like that. But yeah, it's just his wife. That's all it is. You know, it's not important. It's not interesting. And we then go to Nick Fury, who's making eggs. Fucking hell. You see how we just waste so much time. Oh, we've got to then fade into Nick Fury making poached eggs. Jesus Christ. He then kisses his wife. Again, Nick Fury has went home when he's wanted, but that's been completely dropped. In the previous episode, Rhodey was taking him in, going, I've got to take you in. I've got to arrest you. You got to go in the car with these guys. Nick Fury broke one of their arms, so Rhodey just sat there and said, all right, leave then. And he still wanted, he decided to go to his house. It doesn't matter, though, because no one turns up. It's almost as if no one's actually looking for him, even though we were told that he was. He was wanted by all these different governments for who they believed that caused the big bombing. The big bombing in Russia. Nah, they're not after him now. Nah, they've let him go. He broke someone's arm. So we can't possibly bring him in. So he's talking to his wife. He's like, oh, I feel like a bit of revenge or some shit. Basically, you find out, oh, Nick Fury is also a bad husband, because of course he is. At any turn, oh, he's just fucking shit at it. So he's like questioning her about, you know, have you been in touch with Gravik since I was away? She's like, no, why would you ask me that? Well, probably because Gravik is currently trying to take over the entire world, so why wouldn't he ask you that? So she then berates him about him not returning to her after the blip because he's a shit husband. Seems like he's shit at everything in this show. So he's a shitty husband. He's just like, you know, I want to find out who you became while I was away. And she's like, I became me, what I used to be before I met you. So you're a bad guy? You know, I don't know. It seems as though by the end of the episode that, yeah, she's back to her old ways, trying to take over her, you know, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, they could have led with stuff like that, couldn't they? But instead, we had to watch Nick Fury poach some eggs in the morning for his breakfast. Because that's entertainment. So she storms off, and he looks at her phone, and he's like, should I take... Well, yeah, you should probably take the phone. See who she's been on the phone to, because you currently have Earth being infiltrated by a bunch of alien twats. So, yeah, maybe just do it. Don't worry about, well, what is the morality of not giving her... Well, there's an invasion going on. So that's how that ends. We then get Gravik, our very intelligent villain. No, he's really stupid. He's like, you know, because the previous episode, what was it he wanted to do? Well, you had that guy getting tortured. They then saved them. She then, Daenerys, she then called up the police and told them about their safe house that they were going to go back to. So he killed the guy that he believed that the guy that got tortured. He was just like, he did it. And now he's like, oh, I know he didn't do it because only us in the car that went to get him knew where we were going. So why the fuck did you kill that guy then? If you were suspicious of what actually happened. I don't know. So he's kind of already suspicious of Daenerys. Daenerys is like, I'm a great liar. She then goes on to say that Brogan guy that was getting tortured, he must have made an educated guess at where we were going to go. Great liar. I'm actually quite looking forward to near the end of this episode, because remember Daenerys said, "Oh, it's been so great joining the MCU." You'll find that quite funny by the end of the episode. We have another Maria Hill situation where Kobe Smulders said her character has a lot more depth. Died at the end of episode 1. Didn't do anything with her. All she done was chastised Nick Fury. That was it. That's apparently depth. So this guy's like, all right, we're going. He seems to, well, he doesn't believe her, from what we get at the end of the episode. I mean, again, he's going to all this trouble when it should be obvious who the traitor is. Should be very abundantly clear who the traitor is. It's her. Yeah, he's going to go, no, what we got to do is we got to pretend like we're going to blow this plane out of the sky. Just all this work for no reason. So they're on the way there. They're going to meet up with Talos in this little place. She finds out about what this, this stuff that's it's this Navy ship called Neptune that at 2200 hours is going to blow a plane out of the sky. So she texts her dad about this, Talos. We then go into the art gallery where he meets up. Gravik starts being a knobhead again. He's like, look at all these statesmen and oil paintings, whereas the soldiers, they were in the ditches and all. Fuck. I'm just like, you're such a generic villain. You really are. All the time throughout this episode, he's like, humans murder each other. All they know is murder, while he literally murders. It comes across like the writers of this show are constantly on Twitter, because they seem to view the world in a very cynical light. As if they think, Twitter's real life when it isn't. So we get our opening with this fucking shitty villain. They then go and sit down, and essentially the conversation is, if I can just turn the old page again. So, yeah, he goes on about the oil paintings and shit. They sit and have a conversation. He threatens Talos's daughter. Talos gets up and strangles him. And then it turns out, it's all the Skrulls in this. There's not one human in here. I find that hard to believe. But yeah, there's all these Skrulls in here, so they stop him from doing anything. He then calls them off, and they sit down and have another coffee. I love watching people have coffees. It's just such fun. So, yeah, he just goes on to say, all these miscreants, like talking about humans, all these miscreants know is murder. That's all you seem to know. That's all we've seen you do. Murder people. And then get told by the writers, grey area. So he just doesn't seem to... Again, don't say all these people know is murder when that's all you know. Do not say that. It makes you look like a shit villain. So Talos isn't having any of it. He goes on to say, look how they treat each other. Again, that's what comes across like, the writers are just on Twitter all the time. They go, look, people are having arguments on the internet, therefore, everybody is just horrible to each other all the time. It's like, nah, that's not most people's experience. I don't go out of my house and see people constantly being horrible to each other. It's just not a thing that I see. So Talos not having any of it. He's like, nah, I'm gonna tell these humans about you. Now that's good. You should be telling the humans about these Skrulls that are infiltrating their governments. The only thing is, though, maybe don't tell the villain. Maybe don't tell him about it, because then he'll be able to figure out some way to get around that. So don't tell him that. Do not tell him that. But it seems Talos is really just... again, we have another scene in this where they need to get information from someone. The only person that has the information, Talos fucking kills him before they get the information. That's what Nick Fury done in episode 1. He just went, "No, you're the only one with the information. Just going to kill you." And then it's always, it's just so lucky and very convenient that, this other person knows the code. It's like, well, you could have started with that then, couldn't you? So Talos isn't having any of it. He's like, the humans will see the difference between us, the people that are poisoned by your bullshit. The humans are good and all that sort of stuff. He then threatens his daughter again. Talos stabs him in the hand with a knife and says, "Don't you threaten my fucking daughter, or I'll fucking snap your neck." And then he goes off. He bumps into someone. It turns out to be his daughter, who hands him the information to do with the Neptune place, the ship. So then he goes out there. Guys at the car door. They get in. They drive away. And do you want to know what Talos does? He goes and has his breakfast. He's like, "I'm going to go and have some scrambled egg, some black pudding, some tomatoes and eggs and shit." So we're still doing that. We've still just got people having coffees and eating eggs and fry-ups. Jesus Christ, fucking do something. So Nick Fury comes in. He's just like, "You got to help me." Talos is like upset at him for the way they left things the previous episode, when Nick Fury said humans are the worst pieces of trash about. He's someone who protects humans as well. So Talos is quite upset with him. Talos says, "I'll help you if you say, 'I need your help, Talos, and I'm useless without you.'" And we're now about to get into where they further destroy Nick Fury. That's going to be fun to dive into. So they go off, they call up Olivia, what's-her-face, and they ask about, who's the captain on this Neptune submarine? Who's the captain? So they find the information out from her. They're on their way to Portsmouth now. That's who they're looking for. Talos is going on about, "I just don't get dogs." So you've been here for like 20 years or more, and you don't understand dogs, why humans have dogs. Right, whatever. Not important, is it? So then the information that comes out, we'll go through this. We find out that what Nick Fury put together, what his plan for the Skrulls were, is they were his secret spy network. And it goes on, "We fed you," this is coming from Talos, "we fed you dirt and intel that you could have never uncovered on your own in a lifetime. Every time you were promoted inside S.H.I.E.L.D., we did that," meaning the Skrulls. Meaning Nick Fury didn't get to where he is because of his talent. He got there because of the Skrulls. So we're just further destroying his character, making him useless. He couldn't do anything on his own. He had to have the Skrulls do it for him. That's what we're doing now. Yet some people would say, "That's just in character." He goes on though, "Every terror attack you prevented, we did that." And the one thing I can't help but notice is, what about Hydra? Why did you never warn Nick Fury about Hydra if you were just so great at finding out this intel, preventing these terror attacks? What about Hydra? It's almost as if you've retroactively been placed in this show on Earth. And it doesn't line up with anything else. Because apparently they couldn't find a planet. He goes on to say, "Every enemy you sabotaged, an ally you leveraged with dirt, we did that." So, yeah, Fury didn't do anything by himself. He got promoted because of the Skrulls, not because of his pure talent, from what we've seen throughout the MCU. He got there because of the Skrulls. I'm telling you, it just comes across like the writers hate Nick Fury. They are just trying to bring him down fully, because I love a man that hates his life and wants to kill himself. Such fun. That was fun with Indiana Jones, wasn't it? I loved that. So that goes on for a bit. They then go into this guy's compound. They turn out to be Skrulls. They start blasting them. because he blows his cover again. And they're just going through this house, killing all the Skrulls, till they get to the guy that's in charge. That has got this attack to go through, because what they seem to think is this: a Skrull can pose as, you know, the person in charge of the Navy, whatever it is, and just say, "Oh, take that plane down." They seem to think, no, it has to run through multiple channels. You can't just call an airstrike on a plane. That goes through entire channels, entire people. I guess people would say, "Oh well, the Prime Minister of the UK is a Skrull." Yeah, but do you think people are just going to let a Prime Minister call an airstrike? No, it would go to a vote. They'd have to see a reason for doing it. So there's no conceivable way that this plan even can operate. You can't just go, take that plane out. One person says, take that plane. No, it has to go through multiple people, so that doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. And remember, all this is just to figure out who the traitor is. So this goes on for a bit. That guy finally lets go of Talos. He gives him his son back. And we now have this. So it's one of these guys. There's 3 Skrulls in this submarine. They have the launch missile strike, because that's how it works. One person just says, "Call an airstrike on that plane, would you?" Fucking idiots. So this guy's a Skrull. Because this message has come through, they of course haven't accounted for the fact that the employees, the personnel on this sub wouldn't want to go through with it. So that's what prevents them from just blowing out the sky, even though they have the order, because they didn't account for this. So this Skrull is saying to this human, do it. If you don't do it, we'll take you away. I mean, you're already coming across really suspicious, being so desperate to blow a plane out of the sky. So I believe the plane is like NT something. I forget what it does show you somewhere. So this is going on. They won't just torture the guy. This is a Skrull. Just torture him. No, they're not going to do that, even though a plane is about to be blown out of the fucking sky. And the only reason it hasn't yet is because of this kerfuffle down in the submarine. So then what happens is Nick Fury goes to shoot him. Talos goes, "No, don't shoot him," and then Talos shoots him. UN-1, so that's the plane that it is. So yeah, eventually Talos, because again, Talos is just a pansy. He gets very triggered at any mention of his daughter. When it's like, this guy's got the code. They need to get the code out of this guy so they can cancel the abort the missile strike. So after saying about his daughter, Talos kills him, the only person with the code word. Great work. Just great work. Oh, it's lucky that your daughter can find out the code, isn't it? Fuck it. Honestly, they've just repeated what they've done in the first episode. We kill this guy who's the only person with the information. Oh no, luckily there's someone else that has this information as well. So he talks to Gaia. She goes out and finds the code. She goes in there. And I just want you to look at this technology. So this is the same technology we've seen in Captain Marvel. So the people that are in charge of like the UN that we've seen in the previous episode, they are in fact, they have just stolen people's identities. But this technology, what this does, it looks into the person's memory. You have this technology, way more advanced than humans, still can't find a planet though. You start to see how this idea that they didn't find a planet starts to crumble when they have all this technology that is further advanced than humans. So that's where she finds out the code word for. Do you want to know what this guy's code word is? A guy that is high ranking in the Navy, whatever it is. It's the name of his son. His code for a missile strike is Zachary. I don't. That's just really silly. I mean, you might as well just have it, password or 123. You might as well just do that. The amount of effort you put into that. So they find out the code, and they abort it. So they've aborted that. An entire episode spent on, we got to find out who the traitor is. So she runs off. Talos tells her, "All right, you've given me the code now. Make sure you run so you don't get caught by Gravik." Nick Fury asks Talos, "Oh, why haven't you sided with Gravik?" And Talos is like, "Because I'm with you." So that's all it is, just because he's with you. There's nothing more to it. So she rides off, and then she comes to a car and she crashes the bike. You could have just went round it. But okay, you fell off it because he shined some lights at you. So Gravik gets out. He's like, "You're the traitor we've been looking for." She says to him basically, "Oh, I heard that your plan failed, so I was rushing somewhere." That's a big lie. Earlier she said she was really good at lying. So Gravik realizes, says, "No, we did this to find out if you were the traitor. Or find out who the traitor was." So that's episode 3. That's what we've spent that on. Finding out who the traitor is, even when it should be very obvious, and you don't need to go to the lengths of, we got to blow a plane out of the sky. Idiot villains. So she's saying to him, he tells her, "Turn around," and she says, "No, you will look at me and ask yourself if you're our leader or our worst enemy." And then he just shoots her. And again, I can't help but laugh that Daenerys said in an interview that it was so great joining the MC. She's dead. She's dead after 3 episodes. That didn't last very long, but, then again, that is a good thing for most of these actors. Because most of your careers aren't really going anywhere with Marvel these days. Because it is pretty much fucking dead. So he drives off, leaves her. So she's dead. I don't know what's froze here. We get Nick Fury's Skrull wife. She goes off. She goes to a deposit box for a gun. She then gets a call from, someone to do with a rebel group. She's like, "I want to talk to Gravik." The guy on the phone says, "Nah, you be talking to me." So we'll find out what happens with that in the next episode. So that's the entire episode for episode 3. The entire episode was, we need to go to massive lengths to figure out who the traitor is of the Skrulls, and have Nick Fury and Talos running around trying to stop it. That's what we spent 3 episodes to go. 3 episodes to go, and this is what you've done so far. So it's really no different than all these other MCU shows, is it? They all play out pretty much the same. They waste a whole bunch of time, get to the end and go, shit, and they rush it. It's like, we got to get it done now. It's like, well, you wasted all this time. All this time on Nick Fury's making some eggs. Talos is sitting down for lunch. Someone else is having a coffee. Again, all the screen time that goes to waste in these shows. Whereas you watch certain other shows, there's no time that gets wasted. No time at all. So it's just basically been a show of, we're going to sit down and talk a while. And it's not going to be interesting in the slightest. It's going to be very boring, meandering. Again, I'd like to see what the actual storyline from the comic is of this. Because I imagine things will actually happen. Whereas with this, we are shit out of luck. But that's episode 3. 3 episodes to go. Still haven't done nothing. Maybe the next episode they'll finally do something.